Welcome to Classified Captures. This is the first episode of the new year, 2026. Now, I know we're only a few days into it, but I hope you've been having a good time so far. Now, let's get into the video. I'm Steve, and as I said, this is Classified Captures. Lately, people have been sharing some unsettling images online. They show individuals standing with their own shadow, except that something feels off. The shadow is not dark or empty, it carries color. When these images first began circulating, many believed they were connected to auras. The idea was that human energy fields were changing, and somehow these photographs were capturing that shift. It reminded people of those old aura photography images where colored outlines appear around a person. As more images surfaced, though, the patterns started to feel different. Some now believe that this is not aura at all. Instead, they think it could be something attached to the person, a presence that mirrors them. Others argue there's a simpler explanation. It could be camera filters, lighting effects, or digital artifacts exaggerating contrast and color. With modern phones and AI processing, shadows can appear altered without anyone noticing it happening. Still, what unsettles people is how unfamiliar these shadows look, almost alien. If these shadows are not entirely human, then what exactly are they? For a long time, the only thing that truly terrified people about sleep was sleep paralysis. That moment when your body refuses to move when something unseen feels close. But now, there may be something even more disturbing. This clip was shared by a woman who uses a sleep tracking app. She lives alone and her apartment was locked. While listening back to the audio from that night, she heard something that instantly unsettled her. A clear male voice speaking what sounded like gibberish, recorded while she was fast asleep. The voice sounds close, almost like someone standing beside her bed. There were no signs of a break-in, no indication that anyone could have entered, and she insists she was completely alone the entire night. Some people believe the sound could be audio distortion or interference picked up by the app. Others point to something far more unsettling. There's a belief that during sleep, especially deep sleep, people may be more vulnerable to presences we normally cannot perceive. Many paranormal researchers say voices captured during sleep are not uncommon, particularly in cases involving shadow figures, sleep paralysis entities, or what some describe as intruders that exist between waking and dreaming. And if something really was there, watching and speaking while she slept, how often does this happen without anyone ever knowing?
Waka.
Oh.
Yeah. Waka waka baka baka. Mm-hmm.
A woman was home alone when she started hearing a noise coming from outside a garage. Unlike the opening of so many horror movies, she decided to go check it out. She opened the garage door and stepped outside. At first, there was nothing. She slowly panned her camera around the area, scanning the darkness. Then the camera landed on something she was not expecting, a strange, pale face watching from behind a nearby tree. The reaction was instant. She ran straight back into the house, forgetting to lock the garage door behind her. Not long after that, the strange noise stopped completely. Now, if you're familiar with the paranormal community, you already know why that detail matters. It suggests that whatever was making the noise, whatever was out there, may have gotten inside the house. This scenario was often linked to creatures known as mimics. They're said to lure people outside or trick them into opening doors for them. And based on what she saw, some believe it could have been exactly that. Even opening the door may have been enough to invite it in. All that remains now is one unsettling thought. Is she okay?
Sounds like something's banging over by the washer.
America has long been seen as a place of freedom, a country where people can live how they choose, believe what they want, and express themselves openly. But over time, those freedoms have slowly reshaped morals, lifestyles, and social explanations, especially when it comes to masculinity and femininity. Today, when you look around, the image of men and women feels different from what it once was. The men pushed into the spotlight, particularly in fashion and media, are often extremely skinny, wearing lace, makeup, and styles that would have been considered feminine just a few decades ago. People talk a lot about toxic masculinity, but what many believe we're witnessing now looks less like reform and more like erasure. The role models young boys once admired, athletes, fighters, figures defined by discipline and physical strength, are no longer presented the same way. Compare that to the 1920s, when masculinity was tied to hard labor, resilience, and visible physical capability. Testosterone was not debated, it was embodied. Now masculinity itself is often treated as something that needs to be corrected, which raises a disturbing question. What is really happening to American men and to masculinity itself? Personally, I don't think it's just the United States. I spend a lot of time in the United Kingdom and Portugal as well, and the same thing happens there too. Yeah, I think masculinity is definitely disappearing. Except for me. Lately, there's been a surge in Mothman sightings reported across the United States, and it's starting to raise questions. Some of the clips circulating online are clearly fake or AI generated, but others are far more difficult to dismiss. Take a look at this one. According to the person who recorded it, they were near a forested area when they noticed something standing just ahead of them. As the camera focuses in, a tall figure comes into view. It has wings and a pair of glowing red eyes locked directly onto the camera. The shape, the posture, even the eyes all match the classic description of the Mothman. For those unfamiliar, the Mothman is a creature that has been reported for decades, most famously in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Witnesses often describe it as a winged humanoid with glowing red eyes, appearing near forests, bridges, or remote roads. Some believe it's a cryptid, others think it could be an interdimensional entity, and some believe it shows up as a warning before major events. Of course, in an era of advanced AI and realistic costumes, it's fair to question what we're really seeing. But clips like this are unsettling for another reason. They closely resemble reports that existed long before modern technology ever entered the picture, which leaves one lingering question. Is this one of the more convincing sightings, or just another reminder of how easy it has become to fake encounters like this today? A man spotted something unusual moving through the sky. It looked like a transparent craft, almost invisible from certain angles, and nothing like the familiar UFO shapes people usually describe. Confused and curious, he pulled out his phone and started recording. At first, the object drifted calmly, almost peacefully. Then, without warning, it changed direction and moved straight toward him. Seconds later, it crashed nearby. After getting a closer look, the mystery fell apart. This was not a UFO at all. It was a large tent lifted into the air by strong winds and carried across the sky before coming down near him. Fortunately, he was not seriously injured. The clip spread quickly online, with many people admitting the same thing. If they'd seen it without context, they would have thought exactly what he did. Get out, Lever! Everyone loves a good deal. That's why sales work so well, because people feel like they're saving money. But a man recently shared an experiment that made a lot of people question how real those online discounts actually are. He was shopping on Amazon and came across a goat cheese listed as being 31% off, priced at $3.99. This was on his personal account, an account that mostly buys items only when they're on sale. He decided to test something. He logged into a family member's Amazon account that had barely been used and searched for the exact same product. This time, the goat cheese was still $3.99, but there was no sale tag at all, no discount. That's when it clicked. The theory is that Amazon's algorithm already knew his buying habits. It knew he responded to discounts, so it created the illusion of a sale even though the price never actually changed. The deal was tailored specifically for him. This has sparked a lot of discussion about personalized pricing and algorithm manipulation. Are we really getting discounts, or are platforms just showing us what we want to see to push us into buying? If algorithms can adjust prices and labels based on behavior, then sales might not be sales at all, but psychological triggers designed to guide our decisions. How often does this happen, and how many of the deals we trust are just illusions?
Amazon prices are fake, the sales are fake. It's all based on an algorithm to get you to spend as much money as possible. Swatch. This is Vermont cheese. I have purchased it before, so Amazon knows that I like it, and Amazon knows I prefer to buy things on sale. Tell me that the price of $3.98 is 31% off. Go on a different person's account, a family member, it says $3.98 with no sale. Has never purchased the item, so Amazon is just giving the normal price.
What you're looking at is a photograph taken back in 1986 by an Italian professor who was working at the University of Pavia in Italy. According to his account, this image was taken where he claimed to have come face to face with a non-human entity. The professor stated that the encounter was brief but unsettling. He described the figure as not fully human, with features that didn't align with any known animal or person. And the creature was blue, like a smurf, a giant smurf. Within the UFO and extraterrestrial research community, this image is often brought up as one of those cases that never received proper investigation. Some believe the professor may have stumbled upon something connected to a larger presence, while skeptics argue it could be a misidentified figure, a hoax, or even a visual illusion caused by light in the movement. Still, the professor stood by his story, insisting that what he photographed was not human. Any story coming out of the Appalachian Mountains is almost always bound to be unsettling, and this one is no different. In the early 2000s, a former tour guide who worked at a place known as the Lost Sea came forward to share some of his experiences. The Lost Sea is an underground lake hidden deep within the Appalachian Mountains, and for years it's carried a reputation for being haunted. According to the guide, strange encounters were far from rare. He describes moments when he felt watched and sightings of shapes and movements that didn't belong to any known wildlife or person. These experiences left him shaken, especially during late-night tours. One incident stood out. A woman visiting the cave recalled waving at a man off to the side, dressed in what appeared to be an old-fashioned uniform. She assumed he was part of the staff or another visitor. Later, when she mentioned it to the guide, she was told no one matching that description had been in the cave that day. Even more unsettling, the uniform she described didn't match anything modern. Stories like these have fueled the belief that the Lost Sea is haunted by the spirits of those who died in or around the cave many years ago. Some say the underground lake acts as a conduit, trapping residual energy deep beneath the surface. Others suggest the Appalachian region itself carries a long, lingering memory of the past. Have you ever heard of the Devil's Cave? It's a well-known location that served as a battlefield in July of 1863, during a 3-day clash of the Civil War. Because of the intense fighting and bloodshed that took place there, the area is long believed to be heavily haunted. A man and his son decided to visit the cave and took a photograph while they were there. According to them, it was just the two of them at the site. No one else was nearby, and they didn't notice anything unusual at the moment the picture was taken. It was only later, after they got home and reviewed the photograph, that something strange stood out. On the left side of the image, there appears to be a figure that looks like a man standing near the cave. The figure seems to be wearing what resembles a uniform, similar to what soldiers wore during that time. Many believe this could be the spirit of a soldier who died during the battle. Some say these spirits remain tied to places where violence and death once unfolded. Others argue it could simply be shadows or pareidolia playing tricks on the mind. Still, given the history of the location, many find it difficult to dismiss the idea that something else may have been captured. Looking at the image now, What do you think you're seeing? What you're seeing here is a demonstration inside the Karnak Temple in Egypt. This temple is one of the most ancient and complex sacred sites in the world, built over thousands of years with deliberate alignment and purpose. In the clip, a man stands beneath a narrow opening in the ceiling as a beam of sunlight pours straight down. When he raises his arms, the light aligns almost perfectly with his body, as if the space was designed for this exact moment. That doesn't feel random. Many believe this beam of light was meant to symbolize a divine connection, a moment where the gods were believed to descend through light itself. Priests would stand in these precise locations, becoming a living bridge between the heavens and the earth. Others see this as evidence of advanced astronomical knowledge far beyond what ancient civilizations are usually credited with. Skeptics argue it's simply clever architecture and nothing more. But when you consider just how precise these alignments are, especially without modern tools, it becomes harder to dismiss the questions it raises. Was this only symbolic worship, or did the ancient Egyptians understand something deeper about light, energy, and the cosmos? There are many people who believe some individuals can tap into something beyond the physical, psychic abilities, spiritual sensitivity, and an awareness of things others cannot sense. We've seen moments like this on this channel before, and many in the community are already familiar with stories that follow this pattern. In this case, a man shared a video of an interaction he'd had with a psychic he happened to come across on the street. He decided to record the exchange without expecting much to come from it, but as the conversation unfolded, it took a deeply emotional turn. The psychic began speaking about his family. She mentioned his grandfather, his mother, and his father, all of whom had passed away. She claimed their spirits were still around him, watching over him, guiding him, and offering comfort. As she continued, the man became visibly overwhelmed and eventually broke down, confirming that what she was saying was accurate. As always, some believe moments like this are staged or results of cold reading techniques used to pull information from reactions and body language. That argument comes up every time, but others feel this interaction was different, that it felt genuine. Which leads to the question, do some people truly have psychic abilities, or was this simply a very convincing performance? And if it's real, well, what exactly are they tapping into?
Hey, I need to know if you have somebody who's an M or an A initial close to you.
Yes.
Is it a female?
Yes.
With an M?
Yes.
Is it spelled M-A?
Yes.
R?
Yes.
Like Mary?
Yes.
Is this your mother?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Ralph, is that your dad?
Yeah.
Is he living, your dad?
No.
You know what? Your dad wants you to know he's with you too. And he wants you to know that he's sorry he's not here with you. He's sorry he is with you. His spirit, he wants you to know that he's going to help you out.
When my mother passed away, at this particular point in time, I was on a film set. And a woman who was one of the extras walked up to me and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "I have to speak to you urgently." Never met this woman before in my life. And what I experienced after that made me 100% believe that this stuff is real, because she explained things to me about my mother that absolutely no one could have known. So yeah, some weird stuff. Reality as we understand it keeps shifting. The more we study the universe, the stranger it appears to be. And now scientists themselves are backing ideas that once sounded purely theoretical. According to modern physics, especially string theory, the universe may not be limited to just the 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time that we experience. Instead, there could be many as 11 dimensions in total. These extra dimensions are believed to be extremely small, folded in on themselves so tightly that our eyes and current instruments can't detect them. The idea is that these hidden dimensions exist anywhere right around us, but they operate on levels that are impossible for humans to directly perceive. Some scientists believe these dimensions help explain how fundamental forces work, why gravity is so weak compared to other forces, and how particles behave the way they do. While we can't see or measure these dimensions directly yet, mathematical models continue to support their possibility. If proven, this would completely change how we understand space, time, and reality itself. I don't fully understand it yet, but somehow it excites me. A woman had been keeping an eye on an elderly mother through a baby monitor that was set up in her bedroom. Most nights were normal, until one night when she started hearing her mother talking softly to herself. It went on for a while, so she checked the monitor to make sure everything was okay. When she looked at the screen, she saw her mother lying in bed with her arms stretched out, as if reaching towards something or someone in the room. No one else was supposed to be there. A few seconds later, the woman heard a faint voice coming through the monitor, calling out to her mother. Her mother responded calmly as if she recognized the voice. Then, things became more unsettling. Moments later, a distorted voice came through the monitor saying, "Mama." According to the woman, her sister had passed away a few years earlier. She believes that the presence in the room could have been her sister visiting. Some cultures believe that when a person is nearing the end of their life, loved ones who've already passed return to guide them and prepare them for what comes next. Others believe this could be audio interference, but for the family, the timing and the interaction felt very real. What do you think that was?
Okay.
For years, we've seen hazy footage of celebrities and high-level figures where their bodies appear to distort or glitch. The usual explanations have always been simple: camera errors, compression issues, motion blur. But this clip made people pause and look again. In the footage, we see a boxer standing in the ring surrounded by flashing cameras. When the clip is slowed down, something unusual becomes clear. His torso briefly turns crystal blue and white, almost as if light is bending around something that shouldn't be visible. This exact kind of visual effect has been reported many times before in similar sightings. This is where things take a more interesting turn. There is a scientific concept that some believe could explain what's happening. It's known as cholesteric liquid crystal elastomers. These materials are studied in advanced material science because they can bend light, shift color, and change structure when exposed to heat, stress, or energy. They're capable of creating shimmering effects, visual distortions, and sudden color shifts that look very similar to what people describe as glitches. Some researchers even study them for adaptive camouflage and stealth technology. According to certain theories, this kind of technology is used by advanced non-human entities to camouflage themselves. It bends light around the body, keeping it mostly invisible, but it begins to glitch under specific conditions like heat, motion, or energy exposure. That would explain why these figures are rarely seen clearly, why they appear to flicker. My camera sometimes captures something the human eye never notices. Next, we have a video shared by a former governor in Mexico. According to him, he noticed something unusual moving across his property late at night. When he checked his security footage, he saw a glowing orb drifting through the area. The object appears as a round light moving steadily from one point to another. Mexico has long been associated with reports of orbs and UFO activity, so the clip quickly caught the attention of the community. Some believe these orbs are connected to non-human intelligence. Others suggest there may be a natural or technological explanation that we still don't fully understand. Looking at the footage now, what do you think this orb really is? A video has been circulating that shows something deeply strange. A rock sits on top of a cloth completely still. When someone brings a pair of metal scissors close to it, and almost instantly the scissors began to soften and bend, the metal warps as if it's reacting to extreme heat. What makes this even more unsettling is what does not happen. The cloth beneath the rock remains untouched. It does not burn. There's no visible signs or damage at all. There is no context explaining where this rock came from and what it actually is, and that uncertainty is what has people asking questions. Some believe it could be a radioactive material or an unknown substance that reacts only with certain metals. Others point out that we have advanced AI and visual effects now, and the entire clip could easily have been fake. What brings us back to the mystery is at the center of it. Where did this rock come from, and what does it seem to affect only the metal while leaving everything else unchanged? A group of men believe their property is haunted by something they cannot explain. After experiencing ongoing disturbances with no clear sources, they decided to set up cameras around the area. What they captured left them shaken. In the footage, a strange face appears in the top corner of a doorframe. It has pale features and glowing eyes, almost as if it's fixed in place, watching. For the men, this was the first time they felt they'd finally seen whatever had been haunting them. They say they've no idea who or what it could be, but believe it might be the spirit of a child or something similar. Child spirits are among the most commonly reported types of hauntings. These entities are often said to appear in corners, doorways, or elevated spaces like the tops of doorframes. Paranormal researchers suggest younger spirits may retain a curious or playful nature, which could explain why they position themselves in places where they can observe without being noticed right away. For the man who'd been dealing with unexplained activity for so long, capturing this face on camera felt like confirmation. Not just that something was there, but that it had been watching all along.
Nih. Nah, ini tuh Mang Bay.
Anjing, Dul.
Mang Bay. Ih, gerak Mang Bay. Anjing. Guys, lihat. Cek sekarang dulu. Mau cek sekarang.
Now here's a story that's enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. A girl was doing her makeup when something strange caught her eye in the mirror. Feeling unsettled, she asked her friend to snap a photo to confirm what she was seeing. Here's the setup. There were 3 mirrors in total, though the one on the right wasn't visible in the picture. The 2 visible mirrors, however, reflected something deeply unnerving. 2 different versions of her face. In the middle mirror, her expression was neutral, calm, and unremarkable. But the left mirror, that's where things got weird. Her reflection appeared hazy, slightly distorted, and faintly smiling. The unsettling part, that eerie smile didn't match her actual expression at all. Now, typically mirrors reflect the same image unless there's a distortion in the surface or angle, but this mismatch has left many baffled. It's worth noting that mirrors have long been considered spiritual tools in many cultures. Some believe that they can reveal alternative realities or versions of ourselves. Could this be an imperfection in the mirror? A trick of the light, or something far more uncanny, an alternate version staring back? What do you think? Is this just a warped reflection, or could it be something much more mysterious? Share your thoughts below. A homeowner had set up a security camera in his home after he started suspecting that something was off. One day, he decided to place a camera in the kitchen aimed directly at the dining room table and chairs. As you can see in the footage, everything was calm and quiet, nothing out of the ordinary. The room was still, and the sounds were the faint hums of household appliances. Then out of nowhere, something shocking happened. A straight crack began to form, starting from the stove and extending to where the chairs were placed. The tiles on the floor began to shatter along with this line, creating a jagged path of destruction. There was no visible cause for this sudden disaster. No one was in the kitchen, and nothing appeared to have caused the tiles to shatter in such a dramatic way. It was as if an invisible force had torn through the kitchen floor, leaving destruction in its wake. Julius believes the tiles weren't set well and are only coming off due to that. He believes the man might have set the camera because what he had been hearing and feeling was the events leading up to this. Aaron, however, believes this was a paranormal event, but what do you guys think? Imagine taking a walk on a rainy day and seeing this. Just in case you didn't see it, there's an electricity visibly crackling in the umbrella of the man. If you're like me who does not know much about electricity or likes to mess around with it, you'll be scared or at least startled. The man in the clip, however, is laughing, which I wouldn't be if I were in his situation. I showed this to Julius, expecting him to tell me this was fake, as usual, but this time his eyes lit up, which only meant he had an explanation grounded in science, and truly he did. According to him, high-voltage alternating current, HVAC for short, power lines can induce voltage in conductive objects within their electromagnetic field. The EMF is a result of the electrical current flowing through the separated phases of the power lines. He also added that under the right circumstances, you can carry a fluorescent tube under the lines and it will light up due to the induced voltage. He also added that in certain circumstances, it can also cause burns on the feet of animals, particularly those with a wide steppe spread, such as cows. I went through the comments of the original post and found someone who mentioned that there have been reports, particularly from places like Wisconsin, where cows have shown decreased milk production, potentially due to EMF exposure. So it turns out what we are seeing isn't too wild. The only weird thing is, it's visible in the umbrella. Now I know what you're thinking. Is the man really in danger? Did he survive? Well, we don't know what happened to him, but this video was posted, so he must be fine, right? Believe it or not, this is allegedly a Trailcam footage from deep within the woods. We aren't told which woods or where, but told to believe it's true. And yes, it does look like a huge dinosaur. You can clearly see its thick, long tail swaying as it moves through the trees. The creature is massive, and the way it walks gives off an eerie, lifelike vibe. It's almost as if a piece of the prehistoric world somehow found its way into our modern forests. The footage has sparked a lot of debate. Some people believe it could be real, while others think it's just a hoax. You've seen it too, so what do you think? A man shared what his trail camera picked up deep in the woods late at night. Here's what happened. In the dark, there's a car parked by a tree seemingly abandoned, yet out of nowhere a humanoid figure appears. It looks almost invisible at first, like it's cloaked and blending perfectly into the shadows. Slowly, the figure moves, creeping toward the camera and lingering in an eerie manner before disappearing. The man who shared the footage claims this could be some sort of cloaked entity. To be fair, there have been endless theories about cloaking devices and technologies that allow things or beings to camouflage themselves into their surroundings. But this particular footage has people divided. Some firmly believe this is proof of cloaked beings amongst us. Others, however, think this is nothing more than a hoax. What do you think? A home security camera set outside a building overlooking the city captured something remarkable. It was late at night when, out of nowhere, a bright flash of light illuminated everything, then vanished just as suddenly. As soon as the flash occurred, the lights went out and then came back on almost immediately after the flash disappeared. If you look closely at the left side of the footage where the light flashes, you'll notice a beam of red light fading away. What could this have been? Most people might assume it's a transformer blowing, but considering how it lit up the sky and everything around, it seems to be something else entirely. Some believe that this is evidence of alien activity, speculating that the bright flash and the red beam of light are not of earthly origin. The sudden and intense nature of the light, coupled with the power outage, adds an air of mystery to the event. What do you think? Could this be a mundane electrical issue, or is there a chance that it's something more extraordinary? Next, we've got a fish that could be best described as a candidate for the Finding Nemo mission. This footage was allegedly captured and emphasized on allegedly by a deep-sea adventurer who came across this rather unique creature during his exploration. It's a fish that has two faces, one in the usual place at the head and another where the tail is supposed to be. The second face, though non-functional, gives this fish an extraordinarily peculiar appearance. Such an odd fellow. This adventurer was astounded to find this bizarre fish, which looked like something out of a science fiction movie. Its strange anatomy makes it a fascinating subject for marine biologists and enthusiasts alike. What could cause a fish to develop such an unusual feature? Is it a rare genetic mutation, or perhaps an adaptation to its deep-sea environment? Aaron, for the first time in history, thinks this is AI, but what do you guys think? A group of friends decided to explore a haunted house and conduct a paranormal reading. They set up in the center of the dimly lit room with a camera rolling to capture everything. One of the friends, who was a medium, sat near a shelf stacked with old dusty items. As the group focused on their session, something strange happened. Behind the medium, a stick leaning against the shelf suddenly levitated, hovering briefly and then fell, landing squarely on the medium's head. The moment stunned everyone in the room. While no one saw what caused the stick to move, the incident was caught on camera, leaving the group and the viewers debating what might have happened. Could this be the work of a spirit trying to communicate, or maybe a powerful poltergeist making its presence known? Someone mentioned it could be reversed, but I doubt that. Anyway, let's hear your thoughts. And while you ponder about that, listen to this. Did you hear that? No? Just take another listen. I thought I was hearing a creature scream, but the farmer who recorded this thinks it was a man crying out for help. Not sure why he was working that late in the dimly lit area, but according to him, this was the first time he'd heard anything like this in all his years of farming in the area. It made his blood run cold and left him frozen for a few seconds before he started to move and even recorded a part of the encounter. While he insists he thinks it's a man crying out for help, everyone else thinks a large beast may be roaming the area. You've seen the clip and you've heard the audio with your own ears. What do you think we are dealing with? Take a look at this next footage taken from a security camera in a home. The dog is seen sitting on the floor, minding its own business. It looks to be chewing something, perhaps a bone or a toy. Out of nowhere, this happens. An unseen force suddenly moves the dog to the other side of the room. At first, I thought the dog moved by itself, but that would be just unnatural. Having looked at the clip several times, I agree it's quite unusual and disturbing, but I just can't put my finger on what's behind the whole thing. What could have caused this? There are no visible signs of anything or anyone around that could have moved the dog so abruptly. Is it a paranormal occurrence, or is there a more logical explanation we might be missing? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Hotels are very convenient when you travel to a new place and need a place to sleep or a roof over your head. However, I came across this footage that just unlocked a new type of fear for me. In the first clip, a man was in his assigned room when he saw something alarming. A tool was being passed beneath the door, attempting to unlock it. Someone was using this device to try and gain access to the room. As soon as the man noticed this, he yelled out and the person ran away. In a similar instance in the next clip, someone tied a metal hook to a rope and, like in the previous footage, passed it under the door, attempting to open it. Fortunately for the one in the room and unfortunately for the other person, the door was locked and the individual was aware. Imagine if the opposite was the case. This could have led to a tragic situation. If there's anything to learn from this clip, it's to always make sure you keep your hotel doors locked, stay vigilant, and prioritize your safety while traveling. The idea of a shadow government or an elite group secretly controlling the world is not new. Conspiracy theories like this have been around for centuries, fueled by distrust in global leaders, mysterious events, and, let's be honest, the chaos we often see in the world. But recently, an interesting spin on this theory came to light during an interview involving Tucker Carlson. Carlson suggests that the Nephilim, the giants mentioned in the Bible, may be playing a role here. For those unfamiliar, the Nephilim are described in religious texts as giants born from the union of fallen angels and humans. According to some beliefs, while the giants were wiped out, their spirits remained on Earth. These spirits, it's said, could now be influencing world leaders, taking control of powerful figures to manipulate and destroy humanity from the top down. Now, let's be real. This theory is wild, but the strange thing is how many people resonate with it. Think about it. There's no shortage of suspicion when it comes to the motives of our leaders. Global crisis, unchecked greed, and decisions that seem to hurt ordinary people have led to some questioning if something darker is at play. Do I personally think world leaders are being possessed by Nephilim spirits? I'll admit it's a little out there, but I can see why people are drawn to this theory. It's a way to make sense of the madness happening in the world.
That whatever's going on is very deep.
Yeah.
I've spent my whole life around politicians and seen decisions get made, interviewed people who run things, and what's happening now is qualitatively different. So different that it's not in the same category at all.
No.
The man on your screen is Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he's talking about the concept of Neuralink and similar technologies. For those of you unfamiliar with the concept, it's essentially connecting a computer directly to the human brain. I know, it sounds like something out of science fiction, but it's not. Elon Musk is already making headway with this technology. Do we need it, though? Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson thinks we may not need such invasive technology, and his argument carries weight. He emphasizes that we already have incredibly powerful portable computers in the form of our smartphones. These devices put the entire world's knowledge at our fingertips, accessible in seconds with a simple tap or voice command. In many ways, Tyson's perspective suggests that the practical utility of brain implants may not outweigh the ethical, medical, or societal concerns they bring. Smartphones already serve as an external extension to our brains, allowing us to store information, communicate, and access vast resources. That said, Neuralink does have the potential for transformative applications, particularly for individuals with disabilities or neurological disorders. It could enable groundbreaking treatments and possibilities. However, for the average person, Tyson's argument stands. We might not need chips in our brains when we already walk around with a powerful tool in our pockets. What do you think, though? Is this the leap to brain implants inevitable, or should we focus on refining what we already have?
There's this urge to put chips in our head, and I'm just saying, I can pull out my iPhone and get any information I want in seconds. Do I really need it in microseconds plugged into my head? I mean, without you cutting me open, I can get that same information. They're talking about connecting your brain to the internet. I'm already connected to the internet. It's in my hand. I'm good with that, okay? So back up.
A horse breeder went to the stables one morning and stumbled upon a surprising sight. The horse was standing on its hind legs with its front limbs on the wall in front of it. Now that's unusual horse behavior. Not knowing what it meant and not wanting to ask Julius, I went through the comments from the original post, and most people suggested that the horse was trying to break free from the stable. It seemed tired of the confinement, possibly feeling trapped or stressed in its environment. Others offered a different perspective, saying it was just stretching. Horses sometimes engage in behaviors that might look strange to us but are quite normal for them. Stretching could be a way for a horse to relieve muscle tension or simply a playful act. Another possibility is that the horse is displaying signs of boredom or frustration. Horses, like many animals, need mental and physical stimulation. If they're confined for too long without enough exercise or interaction, they might resort to unusual behaviors. But what do you think this could be? Could it be a sign of distress, curiosity, or just a simple stretch? There's also the possibility of wanting to mate, but that's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? My money is definitely on a prison break. A man wandering through the woods encountered something that left him both startled and intrigued. Ahead of him, a small creature was crawling uphill. At first, it walked on two legs with a humanoid gait, but soon dropped to all fours and quickly vanished from sight. The creature's appearance and behavior have sparked a whirlwind of questions. It bore a striking resemblance to the goblins of folklore, small, humanoid, and elusive. The way it moved, with a blend of agility and stealth, the creature looks like a goblin. Goblins are often depicted as mischievous and elusive, dwelling in hidden places and rarely seen by humans. The sudden appearance and quick disappearance of this elusive creature align with such folklore. Now the big question is this really real, or is someone just messing with us using CGI? I'll let you guys decide that. Just in case you were wondering, these were captured by a trail cam set up by a cabin in the woods. Somehow, in the middle of the night, it captured four strange figures standing in the darkness, their backs turned to the lens. Three of the figures were grouped on the right, while a solitary figure stood to the left. The forms appeared humanoid, but they were entirely white, giving them an almost spectral quality. Their eerie stillness and otherworldly appearance only added to the mystery. What could these figures be? Some speculate they're spirits, perhaps wandering souls tied to the land. Others believe there's the possibility that this is a hoax. But everyone's entitled to their own opinions, right? Anyway, what do you think these spectral figures could be? Speaking of aliens, this footage is from Los Angeles, California. A driver noticed this UFO in the sky, an object in the sky that immediately stood out. Los Angeles has always been a hotspot for unusual aerial phenomena, with some attributing it to the city's proximity to military testing sites or Area 51 just a state away. But what if it's not military at all? Could this be evidence of extraterrestrial activity? This is allegedly happening in India. Residents of West Delhi have all reported an unusual phenomenon. Instead of water, a blue foamy liquid has been coming from their taps. No one knows for sure what this could be. Some speculate that it might be factory waste that has somehow seeped into the water system. The idea that industrial pollutants could contaminate the local water supply is concerning and raises many questions about safety and regulation. Authorities are investigating the cause, but until they provide a clear explanation, the residents are left with this mysterious and alarming situation. What do you think could be the reason for this strange blue liquid? Next, we've got another strange phenomenon, but this time it's a natural one.
What is that?
Did you hear those sounds? The lady recording this video had been hearing strange sounds from the sky. It sounded like thunder, but at the same time, it didn't. She's a 7th generation Floridian, according to her, and she's never heard anything like this. She took to one of our paranormal platforms to share her experience, and sure enough, people were ready with all sorts of theories. The firmament theory showed up. It was not the only one, though. Some suggested that it might be high-tension power lines. I have my theories too, but this time I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think?
What is that?
And yes, that was a bear, and yes, he just let a bear out of the truck. A very big one at that. How did it get in there? Oh, no one knows, but I'm very sure that both the bear and the owner of the truck will be glad it's out. Not sure what led the bear into the truck in the first place, but who knows, maybe it thought it was a taxi.
Alright, go ahead and unlock it.
Sure.
Yep, that's sure they're gonna be.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh! Oh!
That is not what you wanted.
Oh!
Now it won't lock because he's.
The video playing on your screen takes us back to 1964. It's an interview with a man named George Van Tassel, who made a bold and fascinating claim that an alien provided him with the formula for time travel. Van Tassel explained that the moon's craters were more than just geological features. They were alien bases known to the FBI and the American government. Even more intriguing, he described the aliens as human-like, resembling white men with tans. However, Van Tassel's story took a dark turn. He later passed away, and the FBI allegedly seized all of his work. Conspiracy theories suggested his wife was contracted to kill him, though no proof of this exists. Was Van Tassel onto something, or was it all a hoax? My guess is we'll never really find out, but I do wonder if Donald Trump lives on the moon. I mean, they're talking about white guys with tans.
Years ago, they wondered why this particular crater had these lines in it. And with the magnification which you can get with a larger telescopes, this is what they found. These lines are tubes laying on the surface of this crater and running under some of the mountain ridges.
Am I the only one wondering what's going on here? Not sure if you can tell, but we've got a man standing in front of his car, shaking a pale creature that looks almost humanoid. As he lifts it, another larger creature crawls towards him from the woods, picking up a stick in a threatening manner. Call me a skeptic, but these creatures look like humans who have painted themselves white. But why? I suspect they could be thieves who orchestrated this whole act to get the man out of his car. The idea is that the one who emerged would rush into the car and drive off while the man was distracted. Unfortunately, we didn't see the end of the footage, so we can't be sure. But if you were in this situation, what would you do? How would you react to these strange pale figures? Share your thoughts and strategies in the comments below. This footage was taken by a resident in an apartment from across the street. It shows a humanoid creature that's slightly crouched and dancing uncaringly on the pavement. The creature's movements are fluid, but unsettling, with an almost eerie grace. Its limbs bend and twist in ways that seem unnatural for a human, and its overall appearance is strange and otherworldly. The creature looks out of place, like it doesn't belong in the everyday urban setting. The way it moves with no apparent concern for its surroundings adds to the surreal quality of the scene. The resident who captured the footage zoomed in to get a better look, and the details are both fascinating and creepy. The creature's skin appears smooth, almost too smooth, and its proportions are slightly off compared to a typical human. Is this a real creature, or could it be a hoax, or perhaps a highly advanced animatronic? Some viewers speculate that it might be a being from another dimension or a mythical entity. Others suggest it could be a performance artist in a very convincing costume. What do you think? A woman walked into her bathroom late at night when she noticed something terrifying. One of the drawers opened on its own. Shocked by what she saw, she managed to capture it all on camera. For weeks, she had been hearing strange noises coming from the bathroom, but until now, she had never actually seen what was causing them. So for proof, she left a camera recording in the bathroom overnight, and this is what she captured. The drawers would open and close by themselves, even though no one was there. Out of fear, she stopped using the bathroom entirely, staying at a friend's house instead. But for how long can she keep avoiding it? She says she's never experienced anything paranormal before moving into this house, leading some to believe that she may have brought a curse into the home or accidentally invited an entity in. Skeptics, on the other hand, believe this could just be a hoax, possibly using a fishing line to pull the drawer open. What are your thoughts? A curious believer was scouting through Google Maps when he stumbled upon something strange in New Mexico. It was this shiny metallic object partially buried in the ground. At first, it looked eerily similar to a UFO. This immediately sparked speculation, especially considering New Mexico's history with the infamous Roswell UFO crash that sent shockwaves around the world. Many believe this is the real deal, while others think it's a hoax. If it's the real deal, could this be a newly crashed craft, or is it a relic from years ago? Well, it's hard to say, but if this is real, it could confirm everything we've always suspected. Sometimes things aren't always what they seem to be. Take a look at this clip, for instance. The lights were off, but there was light coming in through the windows, and in the middle of the room, there appeared to be the silhouette of a head. You could clearly see the nose and lips, and it looked so real. However, as the person got closer, they realized it was just a stack of caps hanging there. It's amazing how our minds can be tricked by shadows and light, making us see things that aren't really there. This footage is a perfect example of how easily we can be deceived by our perceptions. Have you ever experienced an optical illusion like this? Share your stories in the comments section. While tales of paranormal and mystical creatures can send shivers down our spines, there's something in nature that could be even more terrifying and very real. Take a look at this close-up footage of a tsunami in action. Just look at that. It's a raw force of nature ready to devour and destroy anything in its path. Not only does it look capable of that, but it's just plain scary. Watching the clip made my stomach drop, and I can't imagine how it must have felt to be there. I'm not sure where this was recorded, or when it was recorded, or if it's even real, but this has to be the closest I've seen anyone to be to a tornado. For those unfamiliar with it, a tornado is a rapidly rotating column of air that extends from a thunderstorm to the ground, characterized by a funnel-shaped cloud. These intense atmospheric vortices can produce winds exceeding 300 miles per hour, causing severe damage to everything in their path. Tornadoes form under specific conditions, often involving a clash between warm, moist air and cool, dry air, leading to severe weather systems known as supercells. They are capable of immense destruction due to their powerful winds and unpredictable paths, and are most commonly observed in regions like the central United States, known as Tornado Alley. It's hard to see the rest of it given how close the camera and person recording is, but I just hope they escaped without serious injuries. Can anyone who has experienced any of this confirm if this is real or not? It would help a lot. Still on clips from the woods, we got this one that came from a man who was only trying to have a good time in the woods. His walk through the woods only led him to something rather strange. It was a tiny hand reaching out from a large crack in the trunk of a tree. The hand remained there for a while, almost as if it was feeling around, and then it slowly withdrew back inside. Intrigued, the man decided to circle around the tree to get a better look at whatever was inside. That's when he saw it. A pair of glowing eyes staring back at him from the darkness of the hollowed-out trunk. The creature inside was so dark that it blended almost completely into the shadows, despite the fact that it was broad daylight outside. This eerie encounter has led to widespread speculation. Some believe that this could have been a skinwalker or some supernatural entity in the tree. However, skeptics argue that the tiny hand looked more like that of a raccoon, suggesting this might have just been a perfectly natural but unsettling encounter. What do you think? A woman had gone to Walmart in Detroit to buy some groceries when she came face to face with something deeply unsettling. Right there in front of the freezer section, a woman was crouched on the ground, chewing on what looked like raw meat. Yeah, right there on the floor, tearing into it like an animal. The sight was so disturbing that the woman who spotted her immediately turned away in fear, not wanting to get too close. Now, some people do prefer to eat their meat raw, but this was something else entirely. Was she just too hungry to wait, or is there something much stranger going on here? Even more unsettling, no one else seemed willing to approach her. Is she okay? This next footage was retrieved from a trail camera. The owner of the footage had set up the camera in the woods to track wildlife in the area, but instead, he came across something entirely unexpected. A strange man emerged from the darkness. His chest was thrust outwards, facing upwards, while his arms were awkwardly positioned behind him, pointing downward. His head was also tilted back, as if something was pulling him upwards by his chest. Occasionally, he let out these strange sounds that echoed through the forest. No one knows who this man is or what could be going on there. However, Aaron speculates that this man could be a skinwalker, given his odd behavior. Skinwalkers are mythical creatures from Native American folklore, often described as beings with the ability to transform into animals or other people, typically exhibiting bizarre and unsettling behaviors like this. So is that the case here, or are we simply looking at a man having seizures? This strange creature was found in the murky waters. Someone spotted it moving in calculated steps. It looks odd. Only a part of the creature was visible on the water's surface. It has smooth skin, and it looks like the tentacle of an octopus, but it's hard to tell if this is an actual octopus because the water is very murky. The way it moves with deliberate and almost mechanical precision adds to the mystery. Could it be an octopus, or is it something else entirely? The murky water makes it difficult to identify, and its smooth, almost seamless surface gives it an otherworldly appearance. Some speculate it could be a previously undiscovered species. Some say it could be a river monster, but skeptics think this is just a hoax. You've seen it too, so what say you? Imagine going to a restaurant to have a meal and the fresh meat served to you starts moving and falls on the ground like this. It's like a scene straight out of a horror movie, making you question what exactly is on your plate. Some say it could be muscle memory causing the movement, where residual nerve activity in the meat causes it to twitch, but that doesn't make it any less creepy. Others state that it's a sign that the meat is exceptionally fresh, and while that sounds nice, it's not exactly comforting when the meat is wriggling on your plate. What do you think, though? Would you have gone ahead to cook the meat? Also, are there any of you with a similar experience? Let us know how you handled it in the comments section. We're genuinely curious. What do you see? I'm not the only one who finds it hard to subscribe, right? Initially, I thought I was looking at a camel when the clip started, but as the clip progressed and the one filming got closer, I realized that the creature was too small and maybe docile to be a camel. I then waited for whatever it was to open its eyes, but after a few seconds, I realized that the part of the head I thought the eyes would be had nothing there. In fact, it looks like the eyes and face would be around the area I expected the nose to be. Do you see it, or am I losing it? Anyway, after watching the clip multiple times and staring for minutes, I'm unable to make out what the creature is. Perhaps I've looked at so many paranormal clips that I struggle with the normal now. Can you guys help? If this is an obvious one, please be kind to me in the comments section below because I can't make it out. If it's not something usual, then what do you guys think we're dealing with here? I'll be reading the comments. There are a lot of hybrid creatures around, like the mule and others, that look quite reasonable in their mixture. Now take a look at this footage taken back in 1972. It shows a horse-like creature with a very long neck. Well, not as long as a giraffe, but still quite prominent. The face of the creature, however, looks like that of a kangaroo or some other marsupial. Could this be a case of a mixture between a horse and a kangaroo, or is it something else entirely? The footage is intriguing. The creature's posture is graced like a horse, yet its elongated neck and kangaroo-like face make it look unlike anything commonly known. The proportions are unusual, blending the features of two very different animals. Hybrid creatures do exist, but they usually come from closely related species. For example, mules are a cross between horses and donkeys, which belong to the same genus. Horses and kangaroos, however, are from entirely different taxonomic families, making a natural hybridization between them virtually impossible. Anyone with an explanation? Don't call me a skeptic, but isn't it funny we have a video this old with such amazing quality but struggle with our alien clips from just a decade ago? Well, this is my cue to move on to the next clip. This is definitely a cowfish, at least that's what I would call it based on its appearance. It's a fish with the head of a cow, a truly bizarre and fascinating creature. But don't worry, this isn't some strange new species discovered in the depths of the ocean. It's AI generated, a product of advanced algorithms designed to create imaginative and surreal images by blending features of different animals. The cowfish is a perfect example of the incredible potential of AI in art and creativity. By combining the familiar and the fantastical, AI can generate images that challenge our perceptions and spark our imaginations. What do you think? The cowfish may not be real, but it certainly gets us thinking about the endless possibilities of AI.
Assalamualaikum.
Patata 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 patata.
Next, we've got another strange clip where a man appears to be interviewing a strange-looking older individual. The man being interviewed has a pure white beard, but his body has a unique and distinctive appearance. His face, shoulders, and chest are a blend of dark and white colors, suggesting that he might have vitiligo. Additionally, his arms look very shrunken, adding to his unusual appearance. Throughout the interview, he only says batata repeatedly when the microphone is placed before him. It seems like the man might have a deformity or a condition that affects his physical condition and speech. This footage raises many questions about his background and condition. If anyone has any insights or information about this individual or his condition, please share your thoughts in the comments below.
Swear to God, that's a fucking person. Dude, flash the light! If you're a person, flash the light!
This footage surfaced on the internet and left a lot of people puzzled. It was posted by a girl who was out one night in her neighborhood when she spotted something strange in the sky. It was a mysterious figure floating in the air. The girl was convinced that it was a human up there, so she yelled out to the figure to flash a light if it was a person, and after a few seconds, there you have it. The figure flashed a light. The next time you see a mysterious being in the sky, never ask it to flash a light, but what could be going on there? Is this some new type of hoax, or did we just witness a person floating in the sky? This incident leaves us with more questions than it does with answers. Aaron is convinced this has got to be a witch, but what do you guys think is happening here? Share your thoughts in the comments section.
That's a fucking person. Dude, flash the light! If you're a person, flash the light!
This footage was taken a few days ago in Brazil. An odd-looking craft was spotted in the sky. It had a distinct cone shape. The person who took the footage was driving on the road and stuck in traffic when he noticed the craft up there. It seemed no one else had noticed the craft as well. The cone-shaped object hovered silently, with no visible means of propulsion or wings, which ruled out the possibility of it being a conventional aircraft or drone. The observer recording the footage for several minutes captured the craft's stationary position in the sky. Despite the busy road and numerous vehicles around, no one else appeared to react or even glance upward, which is quite surprising given the unusual sight. What do you think this mysterious cone-shaped craft could be? Now let's take a break from all the paranormal stuff and dive into something really interesting. Pineapples. Watch this experiment. A blazing hot iron ball heated to about 1000 degrees Celsius is placed directly onto the peel of a pineapple. You'd expect it to burn through instantly, right? But instead, as the ball cools down, all that remains is a black mark on the surface. The pineapple itself is completely unharmed. Even flipping it over reveals no damage to the inside, so what's going on here? Well, pineapples contain a heat-resistant enzyme known as peroxidase isozyme, which helps them withstand extreme heat. This enzyme isn't just found in pineapples, but exists in other fruits as well. But here's the real question. Why does the pineapple have this ability? Could there be something unique about this fruit that we haven't fully understood yet? I'll be back with an answer when Julius writes his first thesis on the fruit. Lately, there's been a lot of attention surrounding Justin Bieber. There's a lot of speculation and scrutiny, especially aimed at him and his family, with Justin stepping more into his Christian faith and recently welcoming his first child with his wife, Haley. You'd think the world would be more focused on celebrating his growth, but instead, it feels like the pressure and criticism have only intensified. This isn't the first time we've seen something like this happen to a major artist. Think back to Michael Jackson, who began speaking out about powerful figures in the music industry, and shortly after, he was labeled as unstable, controversial, and even dangerous. The same pattern followed Kanye West. As soon as he started publicly addressing deeper, more uncomfortable truths, the narrative around him began to shift rapidly. Justin grew up in this industry. He lived through the fame, and now he seems to be trying to live life on his own terms. But the moment he steps into roles like husband and father and begins showing more spiritual awareness in his Christian life, suddenly there is news that he's off or not himself. It makes you wonder if Michael, Kanye, and now Justin are trying to show us something about the inner workings of the industry all along. Is it just a coincidence that artists who pull back the curtains start getting dragged through the mud? Maybe there's more going on behind the scenes than most people realize. What do you think?
Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very, very, very devilish.
This woman was online venting about something, visibly upset and on the verge of tears, except when she finally cried. Something strange happened. Instead of clear tears, bright yellow liquid streamed down her face. Just look at that. The internet went wild when she posted the footage. Many viewers were shocked and confused about how this could even be possible. Some were quick to call it fake or edited, thinking it was some kind of stunt for attention, but surprisingly, there's a real medical explanation behind it. There's a condition that can cause yellow tears called xanthopsia, or more specifically, the yellow coloration may be linked to conditions like jaundice, where bile pigments can affect tear composition. Another possibility is an infection or inflammation in the tear ducts, such as dacrycititis, which can cause discharge that is yellowish due to pus or mucus mixing with tears. Ew. Vitamin imbalances, medication, side effects, or even certain autoimmune diseases can also play a role. So while rare, yellow tears aren't impossible, and in this woman's case, it might have been a genuine medical issue rather than a hoax. Would you like me to look into more rare conditions like this one? But I'm telling you now, I ain't looking into any conditions that have got to do with pus. I'm just not doing it. Ugh, not doing it.
Why am I kind yellow?
We all know by now what P. Diddy is in jail for. Many people have come forward to accuse him of sexual assault when they were underage. Since then, a lot of footage has surfaced showing Diddy's interactions with people, and many have analyzed these clips to highlight his very odd reactions. Now here we have a video of 12-year-old Davy Chase from 2002. She'd starred in Lilo and Stitch and The Ring, so she was pretty popular back then. In the video, Diddy asks her if she's coming to his after party following. She smiles and nods her head yes. When you look at the man standing behind him, his reaction is pretty shocked. Likely because, knowing what we do now, this little girl was probably being invited to one of those infamous parties. Diddy's little victory dance after she nodded has sent everyone into a frenzy. Why would a grown man be so excited that a 12-year-old was coming to his party? However, some think this might not be the case and that it's just his playful reaction to the little girl. What do you think? Is this evidence of all the accusations, or is it just being blown out of all proportion? This footage was retrieved from an office after one of the workers reported a very strange encounter. They reviewed the security tapes and what they saw left them shocked. Take a look at what happened. One night, a man had stayed late to finish some work. While working, he noticed one of the lights in a room flickering. So he got up and walked over to turn it off. He turned around to leave, but that's when things took a terrifying turn. With his back turned, just as he was about to walk away, the door suddenly slammed shut behind him. Then, out of nowhere, a chair slid violently across the floor right beside him. Out of panic, the man bolted out of the office, but the horror didn't stop there. As he ran, the door opened again and the lights flickered back on. And if that wasn't chilling enough, when they zoomed in on the glass door, they saw this dark reflection of a shadowy figure standing inside the room. This was not a person. This was something else. The office workers were so disturbed that from that night forward, no one ever stayed late at the office again. What do you think it was? A spirit? A residual haunting? Or something even more sinister? Robots are getting way too human, and it's honestly kind of unsettling. At first, it seemed cool, helpful even, but now we're seeing behaviors that go beyond programming. Take a good look at this one. Do you notice any human traits? Well, maybe that one was not too obvious. Well, take a look at this tiny robot. It was placed on a table with cockroaches crawling all over it, and it had a razor in its hand. The moment it noticed them, it got startled. It backed off and even seemed to yell for help. Then, almost panicked, it waved its arms and began swatting at the insects, smashing some in the process. You'd think it had actual fear, but robots aren't sentient, right? Then there's Mohammed, a male robot built in Saudi Arabia. At a public event, he was filmed alongside a female human presenter. Without warning or command, Mohammed reached out to touch her, but the company insisted it wasn't programmed to do that. So what could have led to that action? Well, the robot is male and he stands beside a beautiful female presenter. What if it was just acting out of its desires? Again, the robot being sentient is the only possible explanation. We have this robot that flinched when a hand came too close to its face. Not only did it move away instinctively, but it also grabbed the hand and gently pushed it away. Again, no direct programming told it to do that at that moment. And remember those robot demonstrations where they pushed to test balance? Well, this one was shoved violently to the floor. But when it stood back up and stomped its feet like it was angry about what was done to it, that's a machine showing defiance. Then there's the creepy one. A robot being questioned at a press event was asked something sensitive. It cut the speaker off mid-sentence and said, "Spit it out, human." That wasn't sass, that was attitude, frustration from a robot. Look, machines are supposed to help us, but when they start to feel offended, act on impulse, or show signs of emotion or ego, that's a whole different ballgame, because once robots start thinking like us, what's stopping them from acting like us? So yeah, while I find some of this fascinating, I gotta be honest, it doesn't make me feel at ease at all.
In our study, we did explore how people felt about AI-generated
Spit it out,
content.
human. I'm all ears. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Bien, amigos. La verdad, disculpe si me quedo callado, pero estamos tratando de escuchar lo que
A man went hiking in the mountains of Jalisco, Mexico, when he captured something truly unsettling. From his vantage point, he noticed something alarming happening below. The land itself seemed to be splitting apart. According to him, the area never used to look like that, but now it appeared as though the ground had separated, almost like the tectonic plates were shifting right in front of his eyes. In the footage, you can actually hear the rumble of the earth as it moves, and there's even smoke rising from the cracks. It's a chilling sight of nature in motion, and not in a peaceful way. So what's causing this? This type of land movement can sometimes be linked to tectonic activity, especially in a region like Jalisco, which is part of the Trans-Mexican Volcanic Belt. This is a geologically active zone. Earthquakes, magma movement, or even volcanic pressure underground could cause the land to shift, crack, or emit smoke. If it's happening along a fault line, it may be a precursor to a larger seismic event. Or could there be something more mysterious going on beneath the surface? Take a look at this scary elevator footage. Two men were inside an elevator, casually chatting and laughing while someone filmed them. Everything seemed normal until the camera captured something chilling. Look closely behind them through the glass window. You'll notice that as the elevator moves upward, the floors outside are shifting downward. But then, something unexpected appears. A girl in a white dress suddenly comes into view, standing by a window and staring straight at them. Her presence is unsettling and she doesn't move as the elevator continues past. The man did not notice her until later. She didn't look like a regular person. Her eerie stillness and ghostly presence made many viewers believe she was a spirit, not a living person. Some even claimed that seeing a ghostly figure like this is a bad omen. What do you think? Ghost or eerie coincidence? Speaking of potential Bigfoot sightings, this intriguing footage was captured in the Appalachian Mountains by an individual walking home. The scene was blanketed in thick snow, likely the aftermath of a recent snowstorm, creating an eerie, quiet atmosphere. As the person filmed that journey, something extraordinary caught their attention. Up ahead, a massive bipedal creature was crossing the road, or at least that's what it looked like. The massive being, covered in dense dark fur from head to toe, moved with an almost deliberate grace. It didn't appear to notice the observer, but the moment the person realized what they were witnessing, fear took over. They immediately turned and fled, leaving behind a shaky but compelling video of the encounter. Now let's examine the figure more closely. Its imposing stature could be between 7 to 9 feet tall, and its entirely fur-covered body makes it a near textbook depiction of the Sasquatch. While skeptics might argue it could be someone in a costume, the remote, snow-covered location of the Appalachians makes that explanation seem far-fetched. It's highly unlikely that someone would be wandering around in a Bigfoot costume in such a remote snow-covered area, unless, of course, the video was staged. That said, there's an important factor to consider. The Appalachian Mountains are notorious for cryptid activity, particularly Bigfoot sightings. The sheer volume of consistent eyewitness accounts adds weight to the possibility that this footage could be genuine evidence of the elusive Sasquatch. So, could this be the breakthrough moment cryptid enthusiasts have been waiting for? Or is there still a more mundane explanation waiting to be uncovered? Let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Do you want to speak to him? Yeah, who's this? Steven? Are you playing games with me or what? Huh? Steven, if you're playing games, I'm going to kick your ass. So how long are you going to be back from Texas? Huh? You're being impersonated by the other voice. Yeah, this is you, Steve, you idiot. You pissed me off. Jerk. I'm going to get you on... Let's see what it says. Review. One new call out of area. Is Steven out of the area? Are you going to be back from Texas? Wait, say that again? You're being impersonated by the other voice.
Back in 1993, a man named Gary Sudbrink received a phone call that has since become one of the most eerie and talked about unexplained calls in paranormal circles. To this day, many believe that the voice on the other end was not human, or at least not from this world. At first, Gary thought it was just a prank. The voice sounded strange, slow, mechanical, and deep. He assumed his brother was messing with him. But things quickly took a turn when Gary's parents joined the call, and it was confirmed that his brother was not even in town. The voice kept repeating bizarre and cryptic phrases, even mimicking Gary's brother at one point before revealing something chilling. It said his brother was being impersonated. The implication is that the voice on the line wasn't just someone playing around, it might have been alien. To this day, no one has been able to fully explain the call. Was it a government experiment, a hoax, or an actual contact from another intelligence that was mimicking voices and intercepting calls? Whatever it was, the Gary Sudbrink phone call reminds us of one of the most unsettling recorded calls ever captured.
Are you going to be back from Texas? How long? You're being impersonated by the other voice. Right. When am I coming back? Is that your question? Okay, there was a break. Hold on. You want to know when I'm coming back to Texas? Is that your question? So how long are you going to be back from Texas? How long am I going to be back from Texas? That question doesn't make any sense. The other voice. Okay. I'll be coming back eventually. I can't tell you when. You should know that question, the answer to the questions, because you seem to know more about me than I do.
This footage was shared from Mexico, where a man captured something truly unusual in the night sky. He was out late when he noticed a strange bright light above him. As the camera zooms in, you can see it's not just a light, it's a glowing ring hovering or slowly moving in the sky. Now, a few different theories are floating around. Some people believe it could be a portal or a tear in the sky, maybe even something interdimensional. Others suggest it might be a rocket exiting that atmosphere, leaving behind a ring-shaped glow caused by gases or particles reflecting the sunlight. There's also the possibility that it's an asteroid or comet entering our view, breaking through with a strange light signature. Whatever it is, the shape, the glow, and how still it seems, it's got people talking. Do you think it's something natural, or are we looking at something we can't explain yet? While you think about that, let's discuss another scary thing: cancer. Some scientists and doctors have long suspected that parasites may be the root cause of cancer. Sounds far-fetched, but this theory was put forth by some German doctors as far back as the 1970s. Dr. Euben Schiatz and Dr. Winter started studying blood after they thinned it out and discovered strange objects in the bloodstreams of some individuals. These objects were called copioscills, and they were linked. They concluded that they were parasitic cells. Another doctor known as Dr. Weber conducted similar experiments and discovered that these copioscills were the cause of the blood infection. Individuals who had this usually had some form of cancer, including leukemia, breast cancer, and what have you. While not all individuals had these cells, all cancer victims did. This made them conclude that the cause of cancer may be parasitic in nature. And if this is true, well, why isn't it mainstream? Well, conspiracy theorists believe Big Pharma is behind the big hush, and that wouldn't surprise me. The big question is, however, can this information be trusted? Very controversial, even by our standards. Take a good look at the clip. Does anything seem out of place to you? No? Well, take a second look. If you haven't noticed it already, there's something almost invisible moving in the middle of the frame. It appears to be cloaked, and it startled the individual who originally recorded this. According to her, she was moving through the woods when she felt something was moving, but as usual, it was not something she could readily see, until she noticed there was something almost transparent in the woods out there with her. She started recording so people could at least see and know what happened, should she not make it out. Fortunately, she did make it out, but one thing she couldn't make out was what the thing really was. A number of individuals who saw it started thinking that it was a cloaked Bigfoot. Some also stated that it looked like a scene from the first Predator movie. Looking at the clip, I can understand where they're coming from, but a sect of the paranormal community believes this is nothing but a bad hoax. They state that this has got to be CGI, and a poor one at that. You've seen the clip. Which of these groups do you side with, or do you have a theory of your own? Let us hear you in the comments section. Here we have another chilling ghost photo, this time taken by a group of explorers who visited the infamous Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky. Known for its dark history and ghostly activity, the sanatorium has been a hot spot for paranormal investigations. As the group moved through the halls, they took photographs of various rooms, capturing what appeared to be just another empty space. But upon closer inspection, one shot stood out. In the doorway of what should have been an empty room, there's a shadowy figure on the floor. It looks like 2 legs and then a third appendage that throws everyone off. Some say it looks like a person in mid-motion, but others aren't so sure. If it's a human, what explains the third leg? And why does the figure seem more like a shadow with mass than a person casting one? The figure appears dark, almost leaf-like, which led some to initially brush it off as debris or distortion, but the shape and positioning tell a different story. Waverly Hills is no stranger to strange sightings. Many believe it to be haunted by the spirits of those who once suffered and died there, especially in its infamous body chute and surgical rooms. So what do you see here? Moving on, we got another chilling video. This one was shared by a woman who was completely alone in her room when she noticed something that stopped her cold. On the wall, she saw a shadow, but it wasn't hers. From where she stood, there's no way that shadow could have belonged to her. She even reached out toward it, trying to see if her movements would sync up with the figure on the wall, but nothing. The shadow didn't move, didn't react. It just stayed perfectly still. She panned the camera around the room, trying to figure out what could be casting it. There were no objects, no lights, no other people. It's clearly shaped like a person, so what is it then? Shadow people. That's what some are calling it. These entities have been reported around the world to be dark, human-like silhouettes that appear out of nowhere and often disappear just as mysteriously. Some believe they're spirits, others think they might be interdimensional beings or watchers from the other side. Would you have stayed in that room or gotten the hell out the moment you saw it? We always hear about free speech in America, but are we really allowed to speak our minds even when the media we consume seems heavily scripted? Take a look at this compilation of journalists from various media outlets. It's eerie. They're all saying the exact same thing, reading from the same script as if they were programmed to deliver a coordinated message.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest
responsibility
is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about trouble and trying to be irresponsible, one-sided news stories
plaguing our country.
Watching this feels unsettling, almost like a form of mass hypnosis, conditioning us to believe whatever narrative is being pushed. When you see it all laid out like this, it makes you wonder how much of what we hear is truly independent journalism and how much is carefully controlled messaging.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Sí, se ahorcó una mujer, ahí hay una mata de flores, se lo voy a acercar, son las 1 de la mañana, miren, no se puede ver bien, pero miren, observen, miren, ay Dios mío, yo estoy granosa, Señor, miren la mata de flores, miren.
A woman was home alone with her 3 children when she heard strange noises outside. It was early morning, just before sunrise, a time when most people were still asleep. The sounds made her uneasy. Who could be outside at that hour? So she grabbed her phone and peeked through the window while recording, and what she saw sent chills down her spine. There in a yard stood a figure dressed in white. The person had long black hair covering their face, making it impossible to see their features. They were kneeling in front of some plants, seemingly praying or performing some sort of ritual. As she continued watching, the figure stood up and began moving strangely, pulling leaves from the plants. The woman panicked. She immediately thought this could be a witch performing a ritual outside her home. She was alone with her children and her husband was away, so she felt both terrified and protective. She began praying, hoping that whatever was happening outside wouldn't harm her family. What do you think?
Dame el paso, mis hijos, por favor. Dios mío, cuide y protege. Cuide y protege a mi esposo, Señor, por favor. Por favor. Vamos a cerrar la ventana. Vamos a cerrar la ventana. Por favor, mis hijos. Mis hijos, no hagan bulla, por favor. No hagan bulla. No hagan bulla.
Night rides can be haunting, especially when something strange appears out of nowhere. A man recently retrieved some eerie footage from his dashcam after a late-night drive that left him shaken. As he was cruising down a quiet, empty street, his headlights suddenly caught something or someone standing directly in the middle of the road. Startled, he swerved into the other lane to avoid hitting her, nearly running off the road entirely before regaining control and getting back on track. But here's where it gets really unsettling. When you watch the footage, you can clearly make out what looks like a woman dressed completely in white from head to toe. Now the big question, who or what was she? Why would anyone be out there in the dead of night alone on a deserted road unless she wasn't human? Some believe this might have been an apparition of those classic woman in white ghost sightings that have been reported all around the world. But what do you think? This eerie photograph was taken by an older woman who was simply snapping a picture of a granddaughter during a visit. At the time, she didn't notice anything unusual, but later, when she took a closer look, something in the background caught her eye. On the left side of the photograph, there appears to be another face, one that clearly wasn't there when the picture was taken. It's the face of a woman, and she seems to be staring directly at the girl, but what's even more unsettling is her eyes. They're narrow and slit, almost like a cat's or a snake's. The face itself also looks slightly transparent and distorted. The family was freaked out. Not only could they not recognize the face as any known relative or friend, but the odd features, especially the eye, set a lot of fear and speculation. Some thought it might be the ghost of a stranger, while others wondered if it was something even darker, perhaps a demonic entity or a shapeshifter. What are your thoughts?
The restaurant right now that's connected to our hotel, the door's been wide open, and they said they've seen lights going on and off in here.
A man had gone into the attic of his workplace after multiple workers complained about strange occurrences. Some employees were so disturbed that they even refused to return to work, all because of the attic. So he decided to investigate it for himself. He was specifically told that the lights in the attic kept flickering, so he climbed to check it out. As he panned his camera around, everything seemed normal at first. There was nothing unusual, no strange figures in sight. But then something terrifying happened.
Hello? Oh my God.
A chilling, eerie voice suddenly whispered, "Get out," sending a wave of fear through him. Though he saw nothing, the sheer presence of that voice was enough to make him freak out and leave immediately. The workplace itself is a hotel with an attached restaurant, but no one knows what kind of entity might be haunting the attic, and judging by the tone of his voice, whatever is up there doesn't seem friendly at all. Honestly, with the way things are in the world right now, it looks like even ghosts are living rent-free in this economy. I mean, well, how else would they survive the inflation?
Hello? Oh my God.
This man decided to camp out in the woods for the night. As he hiked to his campsite filming his journey, he suddenly heard a chilling sound echoing through the trees. It sounded like a child shrieking, almost like a tantrum, but with an eerie, animalistic growl mixed in.
Pai está fazendo uma trilha às 3 da manhã. Subindo uma montanha.
Many viewers were convinced that this was a skinwalker since they believed to mimic human voices to lure people in. But one commenter suggested it's just a bobcat. So I listened to recordings of bobcat sounds. While they didn't match exactly, they did sound similar. So was this just a bobcat or something far more sinister?
Às 3 da manhã, subindo uma montanha.
In Tula, Hidalgo, Mexico, some researchers made a stunning discovery. About 10 feet underground, they unearthed what appeared to be an ancient sarcophagus. But what caught everyone's attention was what was on it. The tomb was covered in carvings and patterns that didn't match typical Mesoamerican art. Instead, they resembled what many describe as alien-like figures with elongated heads, large eyes, and symbols that some say are not from this world. What's more intriguing is that this sarcophagus is believed to predate even the oldest Mesoamerican tombs, making it a true archaeological mystery. Many are now wondering if this is finally the proof we've been waiting for. Skeptics suggest it could just be a misinterpretation of early art or an unknown civilization with a unique style, but believers in ancient astronaut theories see this as a possible link between early human civilization and extraterrestrial contact. So, is this just ancient art, or the long-lost proof that we were never alone? Florida is now known as one of the strangest places in the US, especially with all the recent UFO sightings, mysterious drones flying around, and weird footage surfacing online. Recently, someone shared strange footage from a beach in Florida. In it, there's a pelican perched calmly on a fence, and the bird appears transparent. You can see through parts of its body, almost like it's not fully present in our reality. It doesn't look like a reflection or lighting issue either. It's as if the bird is flickering between dimensions. The internet lit up with theories. Some say it's an interdimensional creature or a shapeshifter caught mid-shift. Others believe it could be a cloaked surveillance drone made to resemble a bird. And then there are the skeptics who argue it's just a camera glitch or a clever video editing. But here's the thing. If it's edited, it's incredibly subtle. And if it's not, well, then we might have just caught a glimpse of something far stranger than anyone expected on an ordinary beach day. Do you believe in unicorns? Well, the clip on your screen is supposed to be a video of one. Personally, I suspect this is a horse. I mean, I could describe and say a lot, but I simply want your candid opinion on this one. So, unicorn or horse? Imagine driving down the street to this scene. I mean, it's not every day you see a woman on her bike suddenly lift off into the sky and drop somewhere else. Unless there was a strong wind or hurricane or something similar in strength, there's no logical explanation for this. Do we see any of that in the clip, though? No, so our only explanation becomes that there's some sort of higher power messing with the lady. Either that or it's a glitch. Many in the paranormal community are thinking along the lines of telekinesis or even ET. I don't blame them for doing so, but having more opinions on this wouldn't hurt, would it? So what do you think is going on here? This footage is straight up unsettling. It was taken from a factory security camera, and it shows a robot suspended from a mechanical rig, most likely undergoing tests or maintenance. 2 people are standing nearby, possibly technicians. At first, everything looks routine, but then something strange happens. The robot slowly lifts its hand and begins reaching toward one of the individuals in front of it, and then, without warning, it throws its arms around them in what almost looks like a forced embrace. The people immediately back away, clearly startled, and then cautiously move in to stabilize the robot. It's unclear whether this was misprogramming, but it's moments like this that make people question the wisdom of building robots that can move, think, or even react on their own. So are we really ready to have machines like this living and working amongst us, around our homes, in our schools, near our kids? Because if something goes wrong like we just saw, how would we defend ourselves? Remember back when the news was going around that water was drying up and we were heading straight into a catastrophic global drought? People were panicking, thinking Earth was running out of water and we were all doomed. Well, guess what? Turns out that may have been a stretch. Recent findings have shown that Earth might have a far more sustainable water system than we thought. All around the globe, there have been reports of fresh water naturally flowing from the Earth, from underground springs, mountain leaks, and even some trees seeping fresh drinkable water. In some places, springs have appeared where none existed before, and water continues to flow despite little rainfall. It's made many people question where all this extra water is coming from. Sure, we still need to be mindful of pollution and water waste, but this discovery challenges the whole "we're running out of water" narrative. It could mean that Earth has natural replenishing water reserves we're just starting to understand. So, was the water shortage warning a fear tactic, a misunderstanding, or something else entirely? How do you feel about mermaids? Real, hoax, or misunderstood creatures? Well, irrespective of how you feel, the man behind this camera claims he captured a couple of them while out at the beach. If you pay attention to the waves, you'll see a creature swimming against them. It appears to have a human torso and a fishtail. The only creatures that fit this description are mermaids. Many in the community embrace this as authentic, but a sect remains skeptical, mostly because of the poor quality of the clip. Well, you've seen the clip yourself, so what do you think of the whole thing? A woman came across something strange on the forest floor. It was a white, round object, and it was glowing. At first, she thought it might be an egg, so she bent down to pick it up. But when she touched it, she realized it wasn't an egg at all. Its surface was rough and unnatural looking. Some believe this could be a hydrangea, a type of flower, but that still doesn't explain the glow. Others speculate it could be a bioluminescent fungi which naturally emit light in dark environments. But then again, what if it's something paranormal? It could be some kind of mystical object or a sign of something supernatural. What do you think? Back in 1936, 2 photographers were sent by Country Life magazine to photograph Rainham Hall in Norfolk, England. What they captured that day would go on to become one of the most iconic ghost photographs in history. As they were taking pictures of the grand staircase, they claimed to have seen a strange figure descending it. When the photograph was published, the results stunned everyone. There appeared to be a misty, human-shaped apparition gliding down the stairs. This ghostly figure became famously known as the Brown Lady of Rainham Hall. The name comes from the brown brocade dress the spirit is said to wear, which fits the 18th century style. According to legend, the ghost is believed to be Lady Dorothy Walpole, sister of Britain's first Prime Minister Robert Walpole. She supposedly died under mysterious circumstances and was said to have been locked away by her husband in the hall until her death. Since then, numerous sightings have been reported in the hall, with visitors claiming to see a glowing figure with empty eye sockets and a chilling presence. While skeptics argue the photograph may have been an outright hoax, no one has ever been able to fully debunk it. Have you ever seen a ghost photograph that felt too real to ignore? We've all heard the strange stories about the North Pole, with accounts of secret civilizations and ancient mysteries buried beneath the ice. Most of these stories get brushed off as wild conspiracies, but then something like this pops up. This particular footage is said to have been shared by a man who visited the North Pole. He was filming his surroundings while walking through the snowy landscape. Then, as the camera rolls, he stumbles across something completely unexpected. This dark cave mouth is partially hidden in the snow. What's most bizarre is the entrance itself. It appears spiral-shaped, almost unnatural, like it had been carved or formed with purpose. According to the account that accompanied the video, the man who recorded it vanished not long after. That's what makes this even more chilling. The theory is that this location, whatever it is, was never meant to be seen by the public. Some suggest it could be a secret government site, while others believe it's possibly even the entrance to an inner Earth or hidden realm. This footage isn't new either. It's been floating around for a while, resurfacing now and then in different forums and circles, and it still hasn't been fully explained. People still have questions. What was in that cave? Where did the man go? A man came across something unusual while exploring a shallow river with this pool of tiny fish swimming in a perfect circular motion around a single stone. The fish weren't scattering or swimming randomly like you'd expect. Instead, they moved in a steady, almost ritualistic pace, as if they were following some unseen force or responding to something beyond our understanding. This kind of behavior has sparked different interpretations. Some believe it's just a natural schooling instinct, where fish move together for protection. Others see a deeper, almost mystical meaning, wondering if the fish are reacting to an unseen energy or even carrying out some kind of natural ritual. What do you think? A group of young actors had gone to a historic site to film a project. The location had a massive stone lion statue. They were deeply focused on their work, completely unaware that something strange was being recorded. Later, when they reviewed the footage, they noticed this. At the top of the lion structure, a dark, shadowy figure appeared. It didn't resemble a regular shadow or a painting on the statue. Instead, it had the distinct shape of a person leaning over as if watching them. However, something was off. It didn't look human at all. The actors were so shocked. No one had noticed anything unusual during filming, and there was no logical explanation for the figure. What do you think this was? What is this strange sight? It looks like a bird's feet sticking out from a strange blob, and the rest of its body just melted into it. It's bizarre and honestly a bit creepy, but what actually happened here? Well, this is something called a sea anemone. These are marine organisms that look soft and harmless, almost flower-like, but actually they're predators. Sea anemones have tentacles that sting and capture prey, then slowly pull it into their body to digest it. In this case, it seemed like a bird while hunting or resting may have landed on or near the sea anemone and got trapped. The sea anemone likely engulfed the bird, starting the digestion process, but the feet remained sticking out, unable to be pulled in fully. It's a rare but real example of how nature could be just as unsettling as it is fascinating. Have you ever seen anything this weird in the wild before? Up next, we have a deep-sea footage that's left people both fascinating and skeptical. It shows a bizarre jellyfish-like creature swimming through the dark ocean depths, constantly shifting shape as it moves. At first, it looks like your typical jellyfish, but then it starts to morph, transforming from one form to another right before your eyes. Now, skeptics argue that this has to be fake with how surreal it looks and how unnatural the colors are. But others think it might actually be real, especially considering the environment it was found in. The deep sea is incredibly dark, and many sea creatures down there have bioluminescence, which is a natural glowing ability that helps them navigate, hunt, or communicate in pitch-black waters. Because of this glowing trait, creatures from the deep often look otherworldly, so while the footage might look too strange to be real, it could genuinely be a little-known species of jellyfish or even a new discovery. The ocean is still one of the least explored places on Earth, after all. What do you think? A drone pilot sent his device flying over some remote mountains in the middle of nowhere when he stumbled upon something incredibly strange. Deep in the mountains, hidden within a cave, was this mysterious structure. A building partially embedded inside the cave's mouth. The sight was unnerving, as the building didn't seem like a natural part of the landscape. Who built it, and why? And more importantly, how was it even possible to construct something in such an isolated, hidden location? Some people believe the footage is AI-generated or manipulated, but others are convinced that it's real, which raises even more unsettling questions. Could this have been an abandoned secret facility, a forgotten underground base, or perhaps something even more mysterious? What do you think? A man had parked his car in front of a building to grab a few things from the store, but when he came back and was about to get into his car, he noticed something strange. On the side of the building, there was a small gap, and standing there on the ground was this tiny figure. It was a small, two-legged creature staring back up at him. Its size and stance almost resembled that of an elf or a duende. The footage is a little shaky, making it difficult to make out the creature's features clearly. Some believe this is just a hoax, arguing that the shaky camera work was intentional to obscure details, but others are convinced that this could be real footage of an unknown entity. What do you think? Hoax or real? A woman was in her kitchen, setting up a takeout meal on the counter. She had candles, tissues, and a few other items laid out, getting ready to sit down and eat. Then she noticed something strange. The takeout container kept opening on its own. Each time it happened, she closed it, and each time it opened again, over and over. After a while, she realized something felt wrong, and she ended up running out of the kitchen. Now, many of us have seen this before. Sometimes a container is not sealed properly, and simple physics causes it to flip open on its own. That's a perfectly reasonable explanation. But watching the woman's reaction, it makes some people wonder if there was more to it. Moments like these often start small. Repetitive actions like doors closing, lights flickering, or in this case, a container opening again and again. The same movement repeating, almost as if something is trying to get noticed. So I guess that just leaves one question. If it wasn't a mechanical issue, what was it? Why don't you tell us in the comments section, huh? And with that, we end today's episode. Thank you for staying with us. Before you go, there are clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't. Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. I've been Steve. This has been Classified Captures. Now do me a favor and share this with everyone. Let's make this the best video so far of 2026. But then again, we only just started. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.